Welcome to the Laws of Life with Blanca Greenstein. I'm your host, Blanca. This is a platform specifically designed to help us all improve and be successful in life and in business. To learn from each other the laws of life, whomever we meet during our journey. I hope you find this connection beneficial and have a wonderful day. Good morning, everyone. My name is Blanca Greenstein. Welcome to the Laws of Life. Today I have a wonderful friend, dear guest, STACI Kessler. How are you feeling today, STACI?
I am feeling amazing.
I'm so happy you can be with us. And just so everyone knows, STACI is the owner of a company called Reveal Yourself with Grace and Ease. So we're going to be having, for the next 15 to 20 minutes, we're going to be having a brainstorming session and see what laws of life we can extract from this dialogue. I can tell you that sometimes I have 2 to 3 hour conversations with you. And every single conversation, I always learn a law of life. I mean, even right now, STACI brought note cards to her law of life appearance. What is the law of life on that? Always come prepared. Have some thoughtfulness. So tell us, give us the 1 minute summary, and then we'll start brainstorming. What is Reveal Yourself with Grace and Ease? What is the service you provide people out there?
The service I provide people out there is I am an emotional healing coach, and I guide people to their inner truth. Diving in, revealing yourself to you, supporting you with all of your ingredients. You have the ingredients. You are the beautiful, delicious, yummy cake. You've got it all.
Nice.
And it's all about you going to you first for all of your answers.
I like that. I like the analogy of us as a person having ingredients. So what do you think are the key ingredients to a successful and balanced human being?
Unconditional love.
Of yourself.
Of yourself first. So relationship all starts with ourselves. I'm with my husband for almost 36 years now. He's been my best friend all the way through. We're together since I'm 14 years old and he's 17 years old. We have 2 children that are 20 and 22. And there's been a lot of laws of life to learn through 36 years. I turned 50.
So what's your law of life on having a successful relationship? What's the rule you tell yourself every day when he annoys you?
I truly believe that everything is everything, right? Everything is everything. So the law of life is coming back to me and being unconditional to me.
Okay.
Loving myself enough, and whatever it is that overflows is what I'm able to authentically give everyone else. That's really what I'm authentically able to give.
So the number one ingredient is self-acceptance, which in essence, you would agree, is confidence, positive self-image. And if someone doesn't have that, everything else is affected in their life. So to you, that's literally the core, your core self.
Your core self is your core, right?
So your company, the services you provide, are these one-on-one services? Are they usually group? How do you approach it?
I approach it through, right now, I'm just getting started.
Okay.
I literally have been working since I'm 11 years old, 32 years in business with my husband, which has been a blessing for sure. This year, we decided, actually, Source decided this for me because I was just ready for it. I took 15 whole months off and unplugged every role that I played in my life.
Wow.
Mother, wife, business owner, friend, girlfriend, whatever it was that I was.
And how did that feel? Because you are such a social person. So define unplugged. Because I'm fascinated by that process and what you learned from that. What does unplugged mean?
So unplugged means that we've all taken on different roles in our lives. And we develop these survival walls, and these survival walls become what we live into in an inauthentic way sometimes. It's just like, look at yourself. You come to work, you're beautiful, you're radiant, you light up the office, and you've got to go into a courtroom and you've got to show up in a way that you're going to take this case on and make it happen.
Okay.
Even if things are going on at home, whatever's going on at home, you get to put on this smiley face and become the attorney Blanca Greenstein.
But right? when you unplugged from the roles, was unplug. How did you unplug from being a mother? How did you unplug from the role?
So the role was surrendering and letting go.
Okay.
Surrendering the control. So as women,
Letting go.
we tend to access our masculine. We have a feminine and masculine side.
Okay.
So when we're accessing our masculine, we're in control. And we're taught to be in control. We're taught as young children, raising into family, going into your children, you're taught to be in control of how your children go to school, how they show up, make sure their homework's done, and all these. So it's
all
the
these
rules. And
I will tell you, that's one of the most challenging things I experienced being a mother, and especially a working mother, is that, you have to go to every party at the preschool. You have to, you have to do this. You have to have the kids go to Hebrew school. You have to have the kids go to Sunday school. You have so many rules, and there's only so much time in the week. You know what I mean? So my law of life on that eventually was do what you can and be self-guided. Make up your own rules. Be a leader, not a follower. So is that sort of what you're saying with the unplug? So when you reduce these life expectations that everyone has?
Unplugging, you're basically letting go and letting everybody lead their life the way that they get to lead their life. So if it was my husband, there's something that I play this role of either codependency or interdependency. So we can get into a whole conversation on that.
Okay.
After 35 years of being together, you don't realize how codependent you become on one another. So you're making decisions
together
all the time, and it's really not your truth, right? So emotional healing is discovering your own truth and always having the tools, and the ingredients are in you already. You have the recipe, you have the ingredients.
You don't have to go to Publix.
You have the cake. You're all about the cake, right?
Okay.
And everybody else is your icing.
Interesting.
Everybody else is your icing, including your husband. So it's about you looking deep within, being your truth, and then he gets to look within himself, and then we get to turn in together. And then it's about him and I.
Well, what I admire about STACI, like I said, I think what you offer is the ability to stimulate the brain to look at your life in a different way. And that takes time, and that takes intent, and that takes a conversation. So we're going to continue our dialogue, but in 20 minutes, we can't summarize what's going to happen when you talk to STACI. Everyone's going to have a different experience. But the bottom line is, if you have an intent and you make a commitment that you really want to look at your life and you want to examine it, then STACI, you could be a phenomenal resource to help people look at their life in a different way and maybe do some ingredient substitutions.
You have the ingredients. It's all about being. So rather than being a human doing, which we all tend to do, the human doingness, we get to become a human being. We have a birthright. We have a birthright if we come here as women. And my program is based on women that are looking to really connect with themselves. And that's what I got to do. When I talk about unplugging, it's really connecting with oneself, learning what my truths were. And even though I took this beautiful 15-month journey, and it was about meditation and yoga and going to the beach, being with your girlfriends, making all of my decisions, there was a lot of unplugging that my husband got to do as well in relationships. So after 35 years of being together, he got to adjust to a non-multitasking woman anymore, a non-expectation of what she can do and what we can do together. But
how did that unplugging process, were you happier during the unplugging process, but now you're back in front of the world and you're connecting with everyone socially? When were you happier? During the unplugged phase or the replugged phase after the unplugged?
I believe that they all mesh together now. They've all come together, and now it's all about balance and really gaining the balance in life and knowing that you can always come back to yourself first. So starting your morning with you, with your source, whatever your creator, whatever you call the creator source, Mother Nature, whatever it is, but really taking that time to be with you first. getting clear.
So you're a big believer in meditation as well?
Very much so.
How many minutes a day, week? How many times a week? What do you recommend on meditation?
I recommend, if you haven't meditated, to really start with 5 minutes a day and build. Everything in life is a practice. We're always practicing.
And like I say, life is an open book test. So what are the top 4 things that you think a human being should do to find that self-love and increase self-confidence? So meditation is definitely one. Speaking with you is definitely another tool in the toolbox. What are some other easy tips that could help someone to start building a regimen?
So my regimen for women, and I believe men as well, and I'm starting with women, is to dive into your inner child and really get to know her. How many of us really know what she's been saying for so long, but we've been ignoring that? How do we connect with our first feeling of saying yes and meaning yes, or saying no and meaning no? Because a lot of us say yes when we truly mean no.
Well, that's one of my number one frustrations with human beings. You know, so many of us make commitments and we break them. So many of us say we're going to be there and then we're not there. But some of the reasons are we get tired. So at the time we say yes, I definitely want to go to that dinner party next week. And then it's 2 hours before the dinner party and you're like, I'm so tired. What are you doing? So how do you handle that?
You're creating balance. Where are you overcommitting? Obviously, it's an overcommitment. And just taking a look at all of that and figuring out what is your level 10 of yes. What is your level 10 of no? If it comes in at a 7, then it's a no.
Interesting. So sort of assess the decision?
Assess every decision. So at the beginning, it's like when you start in kindergarten. You're pretty much learning through kindergarten all the way through school the same things. It's just they're adding a little bit more to it because you're going to get bored otherwise, right? So it's a practice. Even school, it's a practice. We're starting with the same mathematics, science, all these things, but we got to make it more fun by the time we get to 9 years old, because then we're a little more fidgety. And our survival walls have come up. So now we say no. Now we say yes. As a little girl, how many times were you told, cross your legs, don't sit that way, you can't go that way, you're a girl? And you really wanted to sit with your legs open, or you really wanted to not wear this dress, but mom has you in this cute dress, or your nails are done.
Well, this is very true, because I'll tell you a story. When Leah was 18 months old, I gave her an outfit, and she said, I can dress myself. At 18 months. I'll never forget that story. And I said, you know what? But the pieces didn't match. And I just laughed, sort of secretly. And I said, you know what? Wear whatever you want. Because I'm not going to follow the rule that the kid has to be perfectly dressed when she goes to preschool. Forget that rule. She wants to wear polka dots with stripes, let her. So are you, from a parenting, let's go into parenting, your views on that. What are your views on that? So you're saying we should be more permissive because maybe during our childhood we were more repressed, we were more controlled. But is permissiveness, where is that going to take the kids psychologically if we're too permissive? And what's too permissive and not permissive enough? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great question. And again, it's you going into your inner child and remembering when you were a child. So typically as parents, we're always trying to make up for what we didn't have, what we couldn't do. And then during that time that we're making all of this up, we enable, right? Because now we're giving a little bit more than what it was that we did or didn't get, right? And that little bit of the overdoingness of how we're handling this becomes the gap in your children's lives, and that's where we take our children's power away. And we don't allow them to make their own decisions, and we don't put them in question. We tell them what to do, when to do, how to do.
That's true. You've got to teach them to be critical thinkers too.
Exactly.
You've got to give them the opportunity to also learn from their mistakes. I think so many of us as parents want to prevent our kids from getting hurt. Obviously, we want to keep them physically safe. That's our job. But you know what? Sometimes they do need to make mistakes. And that's okay. I mean, isn't that what being a human being is? It's okay to make a mistake.
I'm so glad
the world won't come to an end if you make a mistake.
I'm so glad that you brought up a mistake. I was in a session yesterday with a young lady, and she was just realizing that she was the fixer of everything for her children. So she was fixing this. If her son left his homework, she was driving to school and dropping off the homework. If he forgot his lunch, she was the saver. She was the savior. So what happens is when they're living at home, if we allow them to make the mistakes, that's an interesting one, mistakes, as we're filming today, mistake, because there are no mistakes in my belief. Basically, what gets to happen is when we're saving them all the time, we're enabling them. And then 100%. They feel entitled. And when you're not there to catch them in that fall, what happens? Then they have expectations.
Then the parent gets blamed. So let's go to the classic situation. The teenager that doesn't make their bed and pick up their clothes. What do you say to their parents? They should be told, pick up your clothes. And if you don't do it, there's a consequence. What's your recommendation?
My recommendation is this. I don't believe in shoulds.
Okay.
At all. I believe that we all get to do something. It's a choice. We all get to make a choice.
Interesting.
And
so what's
we've given our children, we get to, is the dialogue.
Okay. So pretend I'm the teenager. Mm-hmm. I'm your 17-year-old teenage daughter. Uh-huh. Mom, listen, I don't have time. I have to go. I don't have time to clean my room. What do you say?
Okay. So how important is it for you to have her room clean? I'm going to put
By the way, this is just a hypothetical example, not directed to any specific teenager, including my own children. Just putting that disclaimer out there. Go on. Go on. What do you say to the teen?
I'm going to ask you this question before we start to role play. How important is it to you, and why is it so important to you that she cleans her room and makes her bed before she goes to school?
Why is it important? Mm-hmm. Well, I think it makes a home feel better when the house is clean. And I think that everybody needs their own sense of individual responsibility. Listen, everybody that knows me knows that I'm not a very domestic person. I'm not a great cook. I'm not a great cleaner. But I think making your bed and doing some fundamentals shows respect for the household. And I think these are good skills for the kids to learn. What you're sounding like maybe they could do it after school? Do I hear a rebuttal coming?
No rebuttal whatsoever. I hear what you're hearing is, this is what we tend to do too. Isn't it cool how we just make a bunch of stuff up? Well, we just make a bunch of stuff up.
Let me tell you, you always get my brain thinking. And that's what STACI with Reveal Yourself with Grace and Ease really does. She gets you to think about who you are as a person. What are the ingredients for you to be happy? What do you want to do differently? And every conversation I have with you, you come up with this phraseology that just makes me think differently. So I'm really happy all of you are getting to meet STACI Kessler. And obviously, as you can see, we could talk for literally another 6 hours. But, I say make it a commitment to look at your life in a different way. And think about speaking with STACI and making a meeting with her once a week. How would one of our audience members contact you if they wanted to learn more and think more?
Connectwithstaci.com. Simple. Keep it super simple. My philosophy in life is KISS. KISS. Keep it super simple. Connectwithstaci, STACI.com. And what I'd love to do is I'd love to make an offer.
Okay.
To you, to your audience, to everybody that is surrounding us, and say, join me for 45 minutes and I'll give you a complimentary session.
Wow.
And if you feel that we tapped in on any part of the root that isn't locked into the ground, that you really want to get in and really dive into yourself, go into your little girl, experience what your little girl is really feeling. Let me support you and give you the tools that will support you in that making of the cake, creating the ingredients, and putting the icing on the top where everybody else is your icing. Your children are your icing. You asked a great question about, what do you do when your children aren't making their bed? Just the little simple things that you're asking them to do.
Sure.
And it's all about boundaries. So it's not the individual situation. It goes back really deep. So this isn't just like a pretty cake type of thing. This is really diving in, getting messy, and learning what your stories have been, learning what the ancestral stories have been all through the creation of our time, and what we are getting a little better at, and yet what we can take ourselves on to all new levels and really create the change that we want to be. Be who you want your children to be. Don't expect from them. Don't could them, should them, why them, but be, so that they can see that and feel that.
And I think the other thing that you're bringing to the table, and that's an incredible offer. So STACI has extended to the Laws of Life audience a 45-minute complimentary. 45 minutes with STACI could change your life. Like I said, every conversation I have with STACI, I learn something. And my law of life on this is very simple. Communication. And life is an open book test. And use all the tools in the toolbox. And so this is a tool that doesn't cost you any money. I would say go for it. How do we call you?
561-339-8632. That's my cell number. I'm giving you my direct cell number.
And your website one more time?
www.connectwithstaci, CONNECTWITHSTACI.com.
And you put a heart over the I?
Because I love to love.
You have to put a heart over the I, and you are a heart. You have a heart, a wonderful heart. You're a truly kind and caring person. I'm so happy that all of you were able to meet my wonderful friend STACI Kessler, with an I, owner of Reveal Yourself with Grace and Ease. If you want to reassess your life, think about your life in a new way, and you know what? Get to know yourself again. How about this for a law of life? Network with yourself. How about that? How about once a week you dedicate 1 hour to think about who you are and what you need to live a balanced and healthy lifestyle. I hope you learned something today. I know I did. STACI, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you all have a very inspiring, successful, and wonderful day. Thanks for joining us.
Unshakable peace and unconditional love.
I hope you learned something today. I know I did. Thank you for watching The Laws of Life with Blanca Greenstein, and stay in touch and stay connected. Be well.